Hi. Hi, Janice. How are you? I'm just going to give everybody a few minutes to get online here. And hi, Charlene, Roxanne. Um, just want to make sure of a couple things here. Where are we at? Rhonda, hi, welcome. Cheryl, Patsy, awesome. Okay. Okay. Oh, Barb, how are you? Hi, Regina, my friend. Oh my goodness. Wow. I am seeing quite a few people here. Oh, okay. I just wanted to give everybody a couple of minutes to get on with here. Hi, Wanda from across town. Hi, Debbie. Dee, nice to see you. Tonight we are going to work with one of Donna McCulley's templates, and it's called, here it is, the Curvy Diamond. Going to show you guys just a couple of things on the Curvy Diamond. Okay. The set comes in 3 pieces, and they are 2.5 by 2 inch, 3.5 by 2 3/4, 5.5 by 4. Now, the way that the templates work, and I've got them right here, is they are taller than they are wide. Okay, so when we look at this, and we're seeing this 5.5 by 4 inch, our needle is going to sit here and it's going to end here for 5.5 inches. From here to here is just 4 inches. Okay, and it's like that with all of them. The smaller one, let me show you here, is 2.5 inches side to side, and I'm sorry, 2.5 inches top to bottom, and 2 inches side to side. And our third template is 3.5 inches top to bottom, and 2 3/4 inches side to side. Now, what I discovered over the course of this week when I was taking a look at these templates and what we were going to do with them, I discovered there are so many things to do with the templates. I'm going to show you 2 different things tonight. And the one thing I'm going to show you is a multi-block layout. And that's this right here. And what I did to show you how that works, and I'm going to move you up just a bit here. There we go. I know this isn't really easy to see, but I wanted it to be a practical application. So what I did was I had a 16-inch block. I just made my horizontal vertical crosshair center, and then I just put 3 of these. I will put a 4th one in here of this design. So basically what I'm doing is that will fit in a square. And when I first looked at this, I thought, "Oh my goodness, this is not gonna be easy to do." I was so wrong. It is so easy to do. I couldn't believe it. The instructions are here on the little handout that goes with the templates, and the instructions are awesome. They're absolutely perfect. I just want to kind of reiterate that when I bring these to you, I'm not going to be bringing these templates to you in search of a different way to use them, although some of them I might show you a different way to use them. I just want you to see how versatile this particular set is and how beautifully written these instructions are. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some stitching like this as well, which can be a great border treatment. So let's go ahead and get started with this. You know what? Oh, thank you, Barb. I don't have anybody reading comments, so I'm going to definitely. Hi, Mary. Nice to see you. I'm definitely going to try and watch the conversation, but if I miss something, don't get upset with me. It's just because I'm doing two things at once here. And what I will do is I'll come back later. Hello, daughter. I see my daughter is watching. I always like it when she does. What I should do is have her come over to my house and she can field questions for me. So anyway, back to what we've got here. We've got so many different opportunities. This particular curvy diamond, I think, is an absolute positively beautiful overall design. You could do it in the form of blocks like this, or you can do it in a vertical row like this. You could do horizontal rows like this. And this is beautiful too. And I believe this this one uses only 6 of the crosshair reference lines. So let's go ahead and get started. As I said, I knew this wasn't going to be really high contrast, but actually I've got to confess, okay? I normally think everything we do with ruler work has to be done on a blender or a fabric without any print to it. And I have a dear friend who actually did a project with me, and she used very similar fabric to this. And I fell in love with it. I just absolutely loved it. Now, with me, I'm using a real dark thread here because I wanted to show up on screen. And truthfully, it looks better on screen than it does in person. So don't be afraid to try some of those beautiful fabrics that you have stashed away. I call them the fabrics I'm afraid to cut. Okay. I don't want to cut them and do something wrong with them because I love them so much. So what we're going to do is we're going to move you over to the sewing machine. I'm going to show you how to mark for this design. I totally fell in love with it. Oh, Gloria, welcome from New York, New Jersey. We've got Australia. And my daughter Sarah is in Homestead. It's just a little tiny, she's in the woods. Let's just put it that way. I think that's the easiest way to describe it. Okay, so what I did, and I really do encourage you as well, go ahead and draw them out. If you're unsure of what you're going to end up with, um, it's always a good idea to draw them out, because what I was able to do when I drew this out, I chose the size of the template that I wanted to use, which is the smallest one, because I had 16 inches. I'm sorry. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to make sure that this would fit within the space that I gave it, and it does. Would this have fit in here? No, it actually would not have. But what it would have done, I'm going to turn this off while we're working with the templates here. There we go. What would have happened is I would have seen just how big or how small that the design would have been. So I love this. You know how I get these papers? You're gonna love this, okay? I'm one who likes to be resourceful, and I happen to be somewhat frugal. Sarah, don't comment on that, please. So what I do is when I take my Templey fuse off of the backing paper, I save it, and that's what this is. This is the backing or the release paper for the Templey fuse. So I really think that that works out awesome for let's see if we could get this back to where we need it to be. It works really awesome for drawing on. And there we go. Want to make sure you can see everything well. Now, I am going to bring up the one that I need to mark, and I'm going to show you how I marked this. And I got halfway through it before I realized use your head and save your feet, so to speak. And I'll show you what I mean by that here in just a second. We're going to use our 8-point crosshair. We're going to make 8 reference lines. So I'm just going to move this square here, and this one's very high contrast, so I know you're gonna see this. Actually, what I might do with this one is maybe go a size larger, and I think that yes, it does not matter what size template you're using, you're going to use the same markings, okay? So rather than using the small one, we're gonna take the mid-size, and I'm gonna set that over there because you all know how easy it is for me to lose things. Okay, there we go. So try not to get in your way here. I want you to see what I'm doing. This is just scrap fabric, okay? And quite honestly, I may hang on to this and use it as a pillow, a small pillow, or I might use it as a square. And what is really cool is if you use these as backing fabric too, but you don't want to have any backing fabric on it if you're going to use it that way. Okay, here's number 3, which is actually number 7, and here's my number 8. Okay, so now you can see quite well. Okay, so we have to make some markings on here. And what we're going to do is we're going to mark an inch out from the vertical and the horizontal crosshair. Okay? Oh, great. LOL SWMS 48. I'm glad you do the same thing. You too, Linda. Hi, Linda. How is it out there? Linda is out in Wyoming. So what I'm going to do so that I can make 2 marks at one time, I'm laying my ruler with my 1-inch measurement here and here. Then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it. And again, I am going to, whoops, I didn't turn it far enough. I'm going to make my 1-inch measurement here and here. And we get 2 for the price of 1. Or as I used to say all the time, 2 for the price of 1 half price sale. Now, I need to make another mark on the diagonal lines only, and they need to be 1.5 inches out from the center. So I've got a 3-inch ruler. I'm going to run my ruler halfway, 1.5 inches, right on the diagonal lines here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get, again, I'm getting 2 for the price of 1. That's pretty fun, actually. And I know that they're lined up really well because I have several places to check my alignment. One of them is the reference lines that I drew to right and left and up and down. Another one is on my ruler right here, staying on those diagonal lines, and another one is just from the center out is going to be 1.5 inches on both sides. And that's all the marking we have to do. So that was easy as could be, right? Now I'm going to go ahead, put my pen away, and I'm going to pull this up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how Donna has this set up. The instructions are very clear. And what I found when I was doing this is that it made sense to do it in a particular order. Okay. And what I mean by that, I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Okay. So what we need for this one is our 12-inch arc, and we need our curvy diamond. And this curvy diamond is 3.5 inches tall and 2 3/4 inches wide. And we got plenty of room for it. I don't need that just yet. I don't need my 12-inch arc just yet. You'll notice needle channel. I love it. I love the new templates that have needle channels instead of the gates. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Okay, there we go. Just got to tickle my throat. It looks like I need to definitely adjust my foot height, which I always seem to have to do when I'm going from one fabric sandwich to another, because they're all, even though they're created equal, they're not always totally equal. I'm going to bring my bobbin thread up in the center. I hit that twice. I didn't mean to do that. Now I love to keep my thread underneath. And what's really awesome about this design, we don't have to bury threads. We're just going to go ahead and put that needle down. I'm going to line up my needle channel, and what should happen is that needle channel should run halfway on each side of this reference line, which would be reference line number 1. And find my foot. I'm going to come all the way around this template, taking that first stitch in place. And I know we talked about this last week. We want to make sure when we're doing curves and curvy designs that we keep our stitch length just a little shorter. Now, the reason that I'm going to show you in this particular order of stitching is so that we don't end up with a great big nest of threads in the center. We want just as few as we can get, because there's really going to be quite a few. Now, I am not going to be burying this thread. So what I'm going to do, my next diamond that's going to go on is going to come up here and start at this 1-inch mark. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put my 12-inch arc, and I'm going to use my spacing gauge. Remember, you can't measure too many times. Okay, and I'm only going to stitch right up to that 1-inch mark that we put on. Come on. There we go. Now comes the fun part. We get to cut the thread off. And the reason that we get to do that is because we're going to be going over that spot many times with this design. So now I've replaced my template. I'm lining up my crosshair, my vertical crosshair in the front part and in the back part of the template, and I am going to make another rotation. Now, remember last week we talked about inside curves and outside curves. Now, even though this template is really on the inside, where we have our foot on the inside of the template, but it really is an outside curve. And the reason being is that we're running our foot on this part of the template. So it is an outside curve. And what I find personally I need to do on an outside curve is I really need to pay attention. I can't be looking around or let any fancy bling thing take my attention away. I need to just watch what I'm doing. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to stitch back to the center. And what that does is that leaves these center stitches. And I'm going to show you here on this one. We're only going to be stitching twice on these. If we were to do them in a different order, we could end up with as much as 4 lines of stitching on there. And we all know when it gets to the center, it can be a lot of stitches. So this was what I found to work the best. So now I'm coming, I've got my first motif in. I'm just going to come back to center, put my template back on, and repeat. We're going to do this 4 different times. And we'll watch the clock because we may not have enough time to do 4 different times, but I want you to get a really good idea of how we do this. Remember, your hands are what's moving the fabric, not the template. So you want to hold the template quite gingerly, and you want your hands to be as big as you can make them on the fabric, like this. Okay, so now we're going to come back. We're going to use our 12-inch arc. We're going to come out to that 1-inch mark. Come on, machine, you can do it. And we're going to stop, take our 12-inch arc away, and we're going to put our curvy diamond back on. Again, lining up that vertical line. We have no horizontal line here to line up on, but that's okay. We don't need it. We really just don't need it. Keeping those stitches just a little bit shorter because when we do that, it makes our curves much smoother. Can I say that they don't look like they've got cellulite? They're just very smooth. And again, we stop at the end of the template, which is on that 1-inch mark. And what I like to do is I kind of, because I can, it's a small piece, I turn it around so that I'm stitching towards myself. That's the direction I am most comfortable. We all have that one direction that we're more comfortable with than others. And that's okay. We are going to have time to do the whole thing. Yay! I was really hoping we would. Okay, back in, and we're going to repeat. Yeah, there we go. Now, I'm stitching on a Singer 301 vintage machine. You all probably know that by now. And what I have found, and just want to kind of caution you if you're stitching on a vintage machine like this, is that occasionally the vibrations of the bed of the machine end up loosening our screw and our foot will lift. Just like that. So what's happening now is because my foot lifted up, my fabric is flagging. And what that means is that when my needle comes up, the fabric is coming up with it. And we don't want that. We want our fabric to stay on the machine bed. So when that happens, I just have to stop for a second and I need to readjust my screw that's holding the foot on. And it's good. Now it's working perfectly. No flagging, no waving. Everything's just exactly as it should be. Isn't this easy? Bet you thought this was going to be a hard template, didn't you? I'm going to get through this one and then I am going to look to see if we have any questions. I could see so many template ideas in this too. Okay, watch your fingers when you get around the needle screw here because that can hurt. There's a lot of torque in these machines. And it doesn't matter if you use an old machine or you use a new machine. You don't want to hit your fingers. Been there, done that, and it would not bother me if I never did it again, but I know better. It will happen eventually. Okay, so now I'm going to come back to the center. Okay, look real quick. Louisiana or Louisville. I'm sorry, Jane. Okay, good. Oh, I'm glad you like the design. Okay, just gonna scroll up. Oh no, Karen wants another ruler. Oh, hi, Nancy from my hometown. Thank you, Nancy. You're too sweet. I'll give you your $20 after the show. Bonnie, yes, they do come in high shank and long arm. Okay. Um, Long arm is a true 1/4 inch thick. High shank is just below that. Okay, good. I think we're getting there. Okay, yes, I think you need this one too. I really do. Oh, by the way, your husbands all called me earlier and said buy whatever you want. Oh, okay, here we go. This will be the last one, and then you're going to see just how quick this whole design is. Now, I'm going to tell you straight out, I did 3 blocks over here. And because I wasn't talking so much as I was doing them, it did take me less time to stitch them out when I was solely concentrating on what I was doing over there. And there we go back to our center. And this machine has no automatic anything on it. So you gals who have the foot lift, these channels are awesome. And back up to our, remember this is 1 inch. We put a mark at 1 inch on vertical and horizontal lines only. There we go. Line my vertical line up again and make 1 more rotation. Do you guys have any, just to hear, or just kind of a question I'm throwing out there? What are your favorite templates that you would like to see demonstrated? I know we're going to go with the basket for a while, but if there's something that everybody wants, We can go ahead and maybe do 2 in one evening. Just will take a little longer, that's all. But I'm fine with that. Okay, and now we're going to go back to the center. And you see, we only have 2 lines of stitching, which really makes it a lot easier to go in and out of the center. Okay, so what we have left is we have our 1.5 inch. Okay, these are the diagonal lines. We have just finished this step. Now we're going to put 4 rotations in at the 1.5 inch line. And that's all it is. That's all this design is. It's so easy, but it looks so complicated. Looks like you really worked hard, did all your math, which for me is okay because I love math. And we're going to line up, and here I could have extended my line out a little bit, but it's close enough that I can see it. A little drink there. Throat's getting dry. And here goes the first of the 4 diagonals. And for those of you who know me, stitching this fast for me is a challenge. It's not a challenge because I can't do it. It's a challenge because I just like to stitch slowly. Always have. It's just kind of the way that life is up here where we live. We are in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And most people don't know exactly where that is. So the easiest way to tell them is we are an hour and a half north of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And most people know who the Packers are, whether they're fans or not. And about 5 hours north of Chicago directly. So it's kind of a smaller area. We have in Michigan, we have 30% of the landmass in the Upper Peninsula, but only 3% of the population, which is totally useless information, but it gives you an idea that we are quite rural up here. As I was driving to and from my friend's house today, it really hit me just how rural we were. Everybody on the road waves to each other, don't know each other, but y'all wave. I think that's just kind of a cool way to be. Okay, and here, isn't this looking great, you guys? Oh, the artisan. Yeah, Regina, we gotta do those. The edge-to-edge sampler set, that is in here. And the flying bell, the London bell, those are in our basket. So eventually we're definitely going to use them. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and review your comments. And we'll see what we can come up with. Because I'm here for you guys. Okay? I'm here because I want you to see what it is you want to work with. And whoops, it's not time to put that on yet. Just how we can work. There we go. 2 more rotations and we've got this whole design done. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. It really does come together quite quickly. And I love it. I know that I am going to be using this on some of my projects that I have coming up. And I really want to use this and template it because it just has so much potential for being just gorgeous. And I just happened to pick up the perfect template material today. My partner in crime didn't let me leave the quilt shop without having almost as much as she had. I went to help her pick out fabric, and well, you all know what that's like. See all those pretty things, and I can't leave them there. They'd be sad. Okay, there we go. And this will be our last rotation. Now, on this particular rotation, we don't have to go back to the center, right? But I'm going to. And the reason that I'm going to is I am really big on consistency, okay? The other 3 straight lines coming to the motif are all double stitched. And so to keep it balanced, I'm also going to double stitch this line. You can see that there is a difference. Granted, it's not huge. It's not like, somebody's going to walk up to that and say, why did you only stitch 1 line on this particular motif? Well, they won't do that, and there we go. I just made some micro stitches so that I don't have to bury the threads. And here we go. We've got it. I'm just going to cut that off. And there's the motif. Is that awesome? Linda, I love it when I had that happen to me this afternoon. Run out of bobbin, like within stitches of my finishing. I would have been able to do maybe 5 more stitches. Isn't that beautiful? And you could really, you can just join them and keep going and keep going and keep going. And it's easy. Okay, I'm glad you like it. Nancy, hi. Diane, Orly, oh gosh, you guys, awesome. I'm so glad you like it. Now what I want to show you is a way to do a border, okay? I've been big into borders lately. I've been kind of working on a border class for the So Steady University. So, of course, I'm looking at all the different templates that we can use and how we can make them into a border. What we have, let me see which size I used. And I need to go like that. Move it down. Okay, this is the size I used. So I used the 3.5 by 2 3/4. And let me quickly measure what this border width is. It is 5 inches minus 1/4 of an inch. So that is it's not 2.5 inches. It's 2 3/8 inches to the center, because we're going to add another strip here, which is going to take up 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Always remember that when you're doing a border, you're going to have your binding here. And depending on how you do your binding, some people like to put their binding, stitch it on the back to bring it to the front and machine stitch it. If I am doing a utility quilt, that is how I'm doing it. A baby quilt, something that's going to be going in the laundry often. If I'm doing a quilt that's going for a competition, I don't do it that way. I sew it on the front, turn it over, and hand stitch the back. And I have a really dear friend who still hand stitches the back of all of her quilts. She's got a lot more patience than I do. Usually by the time we get to that point in our project, we just want to get done and move on because we've got that next one waiting. So what I did was I first came across making this swag type, okay? And then I came across and made the swag on the top, and then I started adding do you know what they look like to me? Footballs. They look like footballs from a double wedding ring quilt right here. But if you look closely, it's another half oval because these are ovals, not circles. And if you look here, it's a half oval here. This is a half oval here. So it's really kind of cool the way that everything works together. Your sister-in-law does too? Linda, you're from Michigan as well. What part of Michigan? Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate that. Awesome. Well, what I've done now is I've gone ahead and I just kind of stitched this in so you guys can see it. Now, a word of caution. When I started here, I had nothing to hold on to. So what you're going to want to do is and I know this. I normally oversize my fabric because I feel as though I really need that area to hold on to. But I'm going to show you how I do it. Okay? So, the first thing I want to do is I want to make this oval all the way down. And to do that, the oval is in two parts. It's not all in one. There it is. Okay, so this is half of the oval, this, and this is the other half of the oval. So if I were to hold this here, you'll see there's half of an oval and there's the other half of an oval. Okay, so where I want this to be, I need to move it over here. I always get confused on this one. Okay, so I want this one to be down. Let me think this through. It's going to be here. Okay, it's actually going to fall in half. So to make the oval, I'm going to start in the center to make that first oval. And one might help a lot, and I think I'll do this. It might help just to make sure that you've got a line to follow. Most of us will have a seam line there. Marcia, you're right. Oh, cool, Linda. I didn't know about that. I'm gonna have to check that out. Okay, so the markings on the ruler. The markings on the ruler really help tell us where we need to line up. And I want to go over those just a little more carefully with you. We don't have a whole lot of markings like we do on so many of our templates. Okay, this is just, it's not that it's bare bones, it's what is necessary. It doesn't have, you can do so much with this template. So what you look down here is here's our oval, okay? And you'll see our oval is completed at 1/4 of an inch away from our foot, um, our foot rest. I like to call it a rest. And on the bottom and on the top as well. Okay. Then what's really nice is we have these etched lines on either side that will help to line us up when we're going left to right or right to left. And then if we want to do a second line like this, we've got these lines to help us line up and make sure that we're exactly where we need to be. So I would come here and back up and then just keep moving right along. This is To me, it's just a great basic ruler that you can do a lot of stuff with. So here we go. I am going to come here, put this halfway, and you see how I'm running off of my template, or my template's running off the fabric? This is what I was referring to earlier, where I like to supersize my fabric so that the entire template stays on it the whole time I'm stitching it. Is it a prerequisite, and can it be done without having the template on the fabric? Well, yes, it can be done that way. However, it's going to be just a little more difficult, and you might have to just monkey around with it a little bit more. But that's okay. You can do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm starting here at the top of the oval. This is halfway. So I've got it lined up. Whoa, I bumped you. I am so sorry. There we go. And I'm going to come down to the bottom and come back up to the top. And that is going to make this oval right here. Now, if I want to make the other oval, what I would do is come down just half of it, and then I would move it over if I'm making this oval. So let's make the outside oval first, and then we'll come back and make the inside oval. Does that sound good, guys? Oh, Michelle, great. I'm so happy you're liking this. This is so much fun for me. Yeah, you guys love it. I'd love it just as much because it's fun. It really is. I love being able to share things with people. The other thing I want you to notice is with my template off of the fabric here, it's okay. We're not going to be stitching that far. All right. We're going to be stitching half the template at a time. So here we go. Take that first stitch in place. And I don't want to hold this down too tight. Okay, because that will tend to make the fabric drag a little. Okay, needle down. Now I just need to come over and slide it directly over. Make sure that my halfway mark is right. It's bisecting this foot space. That's the important part. Okay. And if you wanted to, you could always take some vis-a-vis markers, draw it on there just as a little reminder to yourself. And you can see where my fabric just started kind of moving up a little bit. And I'm not done yet. Why am I taking this off? Okay, there we go. And this direction is a whole lot easier. Okay, and now straight across. Uh-huh. I've got puppies, can you tell? 3 equal opportunity shedders. Okay, and up we go again. I just broke my thread. I don't know what happened there. Let me go ahead and get this rethreaded. I'm going to leave my template right there because if I'm really good, I'm not saying I am, but if I'm really good, I should be able to rethread this and stay right on course with my template. Okay, I'm going to hold my template down and I'm just going to just move it back to the last stitch. There we go. And, ooh, what happened here? Okay, guys, What do they call this? There we go. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and cut that. And we're going to cut this off. And we're going to take this out. There we go. This is a practice piece. So, you know what? It's not the end of the world. It really isn't. Okay, so where I've got this now, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I end up in the same spot. There we go. And what I want you to see is I literally just use half of the stitch beforehand, okay? And then I'm going to put that down and my needle back in. Now, what I need to do is I need to realign myself, and that's where the spacing gauge comes in handy. And I want to make sure that I'm 1/4 of an inch away, that my top lines up, which it does. I'm going to hold this thread back. It wasn't as smart as the rest of the thread, so we're going to hold it back a little bit. I'm going to make 1 stitch in place. And off we go. Now, if this was a real project, I would bury these threads and you would never know I broke thread there, that I had that little mishap. Okay, there we go. And you can see my fabric is starting to flag again. So we're going to just come here, stop, and we're going to again tighten that foot. Oops. Wait a second. There we go. Now it comes straight across like this. I could get easily sidetracked, hey? Okay, and we'll do one more. And I'm going to stop right there. Now, what I can do, I have 2 options. The one thing I can do is come here and come back down. And I'm going to do that because that in and of itself is actually a pretty cool border treatment. Okay, so we're going to line up and get my fat fingers out of the way here. We're going to line up the previous line of stitching on those beautiful etched lines. Line our center up, and here we go. And I think this is a great way to prepare for Easter. It looks like bunny ears to me. And here we go. And I'm going to stop when I hit this line of stitching. So as you can see here, I stopped at that line of stitching. If it's a little bit in or out of the template, if it's not exactly perfect in the template, I would much rather stop here than to overshoot with the template. It's not going to be noticed if it's a 1/16 of an inch off, okay? Which is what's going to happen here. What you'll see here is my foot, well, I can almost get one blade of my scissors in there, but that's okay. It's going to come out perfectly. And here comes our second set of bunny ears. Now, there's a couple other things you could do here, I think. There we go. One of them is to turn your template. Okay. I would put an arrow here like this. If it will come off my finger, there we go. Okay, and stop right there. You could put another one here. I only have one available, so I won't be putting two on. And there you go. Now you've just gone above and beyond. Isn't that cool? I love this. Absolutely love it. Oh, you guys are really nice to me. You know that? I really appreciate hearing your comments. Okay, and now we're going to go one more time. Meeting to the center and coming up on here. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put another half oval in, okay? And again, we're lining everything up. The template has the best markings ever. Now remember, because we've already stitched a lot in here, our fabric may have shrunk a little bit already, but that's okay because you know how to kind of schmooze it around there. And here we go with our second half of our oval. Again, stop when I get to that point. If I have not shot it perfectly, that's no problem. I'll just go in and move it manually. It's not going to hurt a thing. Keeping myself lined up. And we'll do one more. Over we go. See how easy this is. And I am only touching the surface of what this set of templates is capable of. And back up to the top. Stop there. And we're going to move it over, and we're going to come back down to the bottom. And there's our ovals. And 1/8 of a stitch there. Okay, so now we're going to make bunny ears on the top, and we're simply going to do that. We ended here. We're going to come down, and we're going to move it to the right. We're going to this is where it can get tricky. And the reason that it can get tricky here is because our fabric has shrunk quite a bit now. Okay, so here we go, back up to the top. You may have to massage your fabric a little bit, get it where you want it. And then we're going to come back down. Oops. I let go of the template there for a second. I'm sorry. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next one. And again, remember how I said we might have to move our template over a little way? This is one of the times. So I'm just going to move it so that my template is lined up on the previous line of stitching. Come up to the top. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of massage it again, making sure I'm right where I need to be. And there we go. And we'll do one more time. Up to the top. Now remember, I'm stopping at the oval. Even if my foot has another stitch or so that it can go before it hits the template. To me, it's more important to make sure everything stays lined up here as opposed to making sure that you stitch that entire template, because our fabrics do shrink as we stitch on them. And there we go. I think that's a gorgeous border. I really do. I think it's awesome. And you can add some bling to it if you want. I mean, if you did that on all of them, that would be really, really pretty too. So, any questions we have? I'd love to hear them now because I can pay really good attention. Aurora Lee, you're right. We sometimes get the instructions with the templates, and what we tend to do is only do that. Okay. But we can do a lot more just by playing with them and drawing them. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Linda, you can easily make the full circle with top scallops, and that would make a little bunny face. I was thinking of that today as I was working with them and thinking, oh my gosh, because look at here's the bunny ears, and you can move this over and you would have the little bunny face on there, which would be perfect for a youngster at Easter time for an Easter quilt. Rhonda, definitely use those stickers. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Wow, you guys are awesome. You really are. You are so welcome. I am just thrilled to be able to do this. So now what we have to do, and I'm going to go ahead and move the camera again, okay? We have to pick for next week. We're going to just keep doing this. We're going to eventually get through a whole lot. Thank you, Deb. Okay, what have we got here? We've got circles on quilt, spinning wheel. Okay. I've got 1 through 7, 10, 11, 14 through 29, 31. So I think what we'll do is we'll start with 1 next week. Circles on quilts, spinning wheel. And we'll do number 1, and then I will throw this back in with the other numbers on it. Do any of you know off the top of your head if you have the circles on quilt spinning wheels? Those are awesome templates. You're very welcome, Diane. Yes, this is a multitasking Kay. It's a multitasking. Oh, good. Excuse me. So, Kay, which ones do you have? Oh, thank you, Linda. Rhonda hasn't used hers yet. Well, this will be good. It'll be time. Linda's got a few. We'll get them out. We'll start working with them. It's kind of funny because I've had this particular set of curvy diamonds, and it wasn't until this week that I ever took them out of the package and worked with them. So by doing this, I'm not just helping myself, I'm helping you too. And yeah, orally, they are wonderful. So I'm really looking forward to next week where we can take a circles on quilt spinning wheel and take that wheel for a ride. How does that sound? I just want to thank you guys so much for being here. It really means a lot to me. And I enjoy hearing feedback from you. If you want to go to the instructor page, you can look me up on there, leave me comments, suggestions, tell me what I did good, what I could improve. I really appreciate that too. I take constructive criticism very well. So thanks, Kay. And thank you, Donna. I really, really enjoyed being here, and I look forward to seeing you next week. So until then, let's quilt.